Honourable members, by the agreement to defer the conclusion on item 9A, we then move to item 9B, standing in the name of Honourable Alexander Kwamina Afenyo Makin, Osahin, Member of Parliament for Ofutu. You have the floor.
Speaker, let me thank you for this treasure space to make this statement on the matter of free speech, civil liberties, and the rule of law in Ghana. Speaker, there are moments in the life of a nation that demand more than politics, moments that call upon us to speak as custodians of something sacred. This is one of such moments. Ghana was built by men and women who believed that truth must be free to speak, that power must be free to be questioned, and that no government, however well-intentioned, holds a mandate to muzzle the voice of the people. What is happening in this country today goes beyond partisan politics. It is a question edged into the conscience of the nation itself about the kind of Ghana we are and whether we still have the courage to remain the Ghana we promised the world would be. Ghana's democracy is among the most celebrated on the African continent. We have earned that distinction through decades of sacrifice, civic vigilance, and unrelenting commitment to constitutionalism. We have weathered coups, transitions, and the painful growing pains of young republic. Each time, we have chosen to return to the rule of law. Each time, we have reaffirmed that the will of the people, freely expressed, is the only legitimate source of power in this land. The right to free expression, enshrined in Article 21(1)(a) of our Constitution, is a birthright. It is the oxygen of democracy. And when that oxygen is restricted, the body politic begins quietly and dangerously to suffocate. Now, the weight of what has happened, Mr. Speaker, it is now a matter of public record that a number of Ghanaian citizens, members of the opposition New Patriotic Party, have been arrested in circumstances that have unsettled civil society, alarmed legal community, and provoked anxiety among the Ghanaian public. We do not use the word anxiety lightly. Anxiety is what people feel when they begin to wonder whether the rules that protect them still apply. When they begin to calculate before they speak whether speaking is safe. That is a profound and dangerous shift in the relationship between a government and its citizens, and it must be named for what it is. Mr. Speaker, let us be very honest about what free speech actually means in practice. Free speech, in its truest and most necessary form, is the freedom to criticize, to dissent, to challenge, and to demand accountability from those who govern. That is its purpose. That is why it is protected. We are mindful that there will be those who argue that the law is simply being applied, that no one is above the law, and that the arrests in question are matters for the court to resolve. We do not dispute the authority of the courts. We do not question that the law must apply equally to all. But we also know, as students of history and as people who have lived in this country through its many seasons, that the law can be technically applied and fundamentally abused at the same time. Now, let me deal with what is at stake. Mr. Speaker, some may wonder why this House should concern itself so deeply with the arrest of a number of individuals. The answer is that we are here for the principle, because the principle, once compromised, does not stop at a handful of arrests. it proliferates. History on this continent has shown us with painful clarity how the erosion of free speech begins. It rarely begins with the silencing of everyone. It begins with the silencing of some and the silence of everyone else in response. It begins, Mr. Speaker, in moments precisely like this one. Mr. Speaker, Ghana has built its reputation painstakingly. We are looked upon across Africa as a model, a proof of concept that democracy can take roots and flourish on this continent. Other nations have drawn encouragement from our example. International partners have invested in us precisely because we have consistently demonstrated that our institutions are stronger than any individual administration. We must not, in a moment of political temperature, squander what generations labored to build. History has taught us at great cost that the suppression of political speech has never served this nation well. Governments that stifle dissent do not strengthen themselves, but rather hollow out the very institutions upon which their own legitimacy depends. A democracy that is healthy enough to tolerate criticism is a democracy strong enough to endure. And a government confident enough in its own mandates has no need to fear the voices of those who disagree with it. I call to the other side of this house. Mr. Speaker, we the minority hereby appeal without reservation to our friends across the aisle and to every member of this house. Let us be consistent. The standard we apply today to the treatment of the opposition must be the same standard we would demand were the roles reversed. This is not a matter of political courtesy. It is a matter of institutional survival. The norms we establish in this chamber today will outlast every one of us. They will govern how power is exercised and how rights are protected long after this parliament has dissolved and a new one convened. We are not only making decisions for today, we are writing the rules for tomorrow. Ghana's democracy belongs to all of us. It is not the inheritance of any single administration. We are all its custodians, and we will all answer to history for how we chose to steward it in moments exactly like this very one. Our demands as minority, Mr. Speaker, we contend that Ghana has come too far. We have paid too high a price for the freedoms we enjoy to allow them to be quietly diminished in moments of political convenience. Let this house today be the guarantor of those freedoms. Let our deliberations send a message to every Ghanaian in every corner of this country that their voices matter, that their rights are sacred, and that this parliament stands ready, willing, and resolute in its defense of both. Let Ghana continue to be that nation. Let this house, regardless of political persuasion, stand as one voice in defense of the liberties that generations of Ghanaians have fought and in some cases given their lives to preserve. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, colleagues, for your kind audience.
Yes, we, majority and minority, we agreed on 2-2. Is that still standing, Majority Leader? Yes.
Yes. 5-5. I think.
4 and then 1 on leadership.
So if 5-5, how many statements can we take today?
Plus leadership.
Honorable Patricia Piaget, if it is 5-5,
Yes.
how many statements can we take today?
2. We are taking 2 statements. Yes.
So
So
5-5.
5. It's fine.
Yes, 5-5
Yes,
is
it-
25,
it-
25.
oh,
It's
just
50.
No, I don't think so. 4 plus 1. The leadership. Pardon? 5. I think 5 minutes comments were not. Please, I think people are very much interested in the subject. So let's give them the opportunity to express
Honorable
themselves.
members, I believe
Thank you.
if one person is speaking for 5 minutes and we are taking 5-5, that is 10 people. By 2 statements, we should be going beyond 2 hours. We can operate within an hour. So 3 plus leadership.
Yes, we don't have any objection.
Very well. Honorable Sam George, you have the floor. You are speaking for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, and I want to thank the Minority Leader for
Timekeeper.
the statement that he has made. In fact, just this past weekend, myself and the Minority Leader were at the Ghana Journalists Association World Press Freedom Day. Mr. Speaker, it's important that we put in perspective where we sit as a country. Ghana ranked 39th out of 180 countries in this year's World Press Freedom Day, and number 4 in Africa. In 2023, Ghana ranked 62. So we have come from far. Under the NPP, we were number 62 out of 180. Today, under President Mahama, we are number 39. That is progress. And Mr. Speaker, to even put this in perspective, the United States is number 64 in the world. So Ghana is doing way better, 25 places ahead of the United States. So when it comes to press freedoms, Ghana is a shining example under President John Dramani Mahama. President Mahama, and this is not by Sam George, this is by Reporters Without Borders. Mr. Speaker, President Mahama is a president under whose tenure no journalist has been killed. We cannot say that about the immediate past NPP administration. Ahmed Swale is a blot on our national history under the NPP's administration. Under President Mahama, no journalist has had to travel out of this country out of fear for his life. Manasseh Azuri Awuni ran away under the NPP. We are in a better place. President Mahama is a president who does not just tolerate scrutiny, he embraces it, because he believes that when journalists ask the hard questions, they drive accountability. But Mr. Speaker, freedoms are not absolute. Freedoms come with a certain level of responsibility. And Mr. Speaker, under this administration, our colleague Dominic Ayine has not taken any journalist to court. But under the NPP, the Attorney General dragged Ohini Boama Beni to court and got him jailed by the courts. That is the record of the NPP. The likes of Captain Smart, the likes of Kwabna Bobie Ansa, state-sponsored persecution of journalists is a thing of our past that ended with the abysmal defeat of the NPP and will not happen under the Mahama administration. Mr. Speaker, I am happy that in the statement, the Minority Leader says, and I quote, "We do not dispute the authority of the courts." That's very telling, because just a few days ago, he said he would disrespect the circuit court judge, and he will repeat it and disrespect that judge. I am happy that today he has come to respect the authorities of the court.
Keep his time. Let me recognize Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, you have a reputation of calling people to order when they go outside of the rules. Mr. Speaker, with respect, the colleague is misquoting me for his own convenience. I would want to urge upon you to direct him to withdraw that aspect of the submission. Mr. Speaker, if he wants to refer to a statement I've made, he should read and read it in full. What he has said is not what I've said. That is my submission to you.
Yes, Honorable Minister, take note, do the needful.
Right Honorable Chair, I paraphrased the comments of the minority leader, and he said...
Please just do the needful because of the time.
Which is to
he
withdraw
said
what he said.
That was not what he said. He's insisting you read his statement in full.
Right Honorable Speaker.
And reading that statement in full would have taken all your time.
Yes,
so just
which
withdraw and let's make
Right
progress.
Honorable Speaker, if you ask me to withdraw that, he who alleges must prove. The burden of proof is on him to show that what I have said is not what he said.
Honourable members, let's make progress. The statement that the majority leader is offended is ordered to be expunged from the record. Let's make progress.
Mr. Speaker, again from his statement, he says we are writing the rules for tomorrow. Today's rules were written yesterday. And so let us be clear that everyone has a responsibility. We would respect the rule of law. We would ensure that the rights of citizens are protected under the Mahama administration, but citizens have a responsibility. Mr. Speaker, there can be no explanation of saying that you wish to see the president of the land and his wife killed and said, in fact, the word used was executed, and you tell me that that is freedom of speech. Mr. Speaker, that cannot be freedom of speech. And so our demand to the minority, our demand to the minority, Mr. Speaker, is for them to be circumspect in their choice of words, to call for the execution of the first gentleman of the land and his wife. Mr. Speaker, that is a threat to the president.
Honourable member, your time is up. Your time is up. Yes, Honourable Abu Jinapo.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to contribute to this very important and timely statement made by the distinguished minority leader, the Honorable Osahin Afenyo Market. Mr. Speaker, let me just say very clearly and strongly that when you listen to the statement read by the minority leader, Mr. Speaker, the minority leader sought to rise above partisanship and put before this House a matter of national concern, which, Mr. Speaker, I will say has been an issue government after government have been seeking to deal with, the issue of press freedom and freedom of speech. Mr. Speaker, again, our friend and brother, the Honorable Minister for Communication, in his classic fashion, chose to travel on the path of partisanship. Mr. Speaker, with the greatest of respect to the Honorable Minister, given that he's the minister responsible for communication, one would have most respectfully expect, Mr. Speaker, that he will approach this subject in a manner that the minority leader did, be non-partisan, and let us interrogate the issue of press freedom and free speech. Mr. Speaker, the examples he gave under President Akufo-Addo are examples that all of us have to continue to interrogate. And the issues that the minority leader raised on this floor, which were not too long ago on the 6th of this month, 2026, reported by reputable international media organization Al Jazeera, is a matter that we will continue to deal with. Mr. Speaker, as minister, he will realize that in 2001, President Kufuor took such a bold step by repealing the criminal libel law. Mr. Speaker, he will also realize that under President Mills made several attempts to broaden the spectrum of free speech and press freedom. And you realize again that under Mahama I, there was further attempt to broaden free speech. And Akufo-Addo did his bit. President Mahama is doing his bit. Mr. Speaker, it is not everything that we have to reduce to partisanship. And I think it's important that I put that on record. Having said this, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that there's a classic distinction between press freedom and freedom of speech. Mr. Speaker, you may have a situation where the press is free. The press is free to do their work. That is press freedom. Mr. Speaker, there is a distinction, there's a gulf. It's like day and night between press freedom and freedom of speech. And what the minority leader sought to deal with was freedom of speech. Unfortunately, what our Honorable Minister for Communication went, the tangent he went was press freedom. These are two different things. Mr. Speaker, and freedom of speech is so fundamental. Freedom of speech is so fundamental. Mr. Speaker, I'll give an example where sometime in 2010, President Obama, an American citizen, broadcasted publicly that he was going to ban a holy book, one of the holy books of the major religion in our world, as a sign or a demonstration of freedom of speech. And the consequences would have been catastrophic for American foreign policy and American interests. The president did not have him arrested. The president actually invited him, coaxed him, and persuaded him, Mr. Speaker, not to go on that path of freedom of speech. Mr. Speaker, it's also important for me to make this point. Mr. Speaker, when people infringe on freedom of speech, when they abuse freedom of speech, Mr. Speaker, in many cases, the redress is not to arrest them and take them to the criminal justice system. The redress is when your reputation is injured, and when you feel your reputation is injured, even if you are the president, your redress is to take the civil path of defamation. Mr. Speaker, I want to conclude by referencing a portion of the statement by the minority, and I quote him. He says, "Ghana's democracy belongs to all of us. It is not the inheritance of any single administration. We are all its custodians, and we will all answer to history for how we choose to steward it in moments exactly like this." And I quote, Mr. Speaker, when you're on this side, the right-hand side of the speaker, sometimes these kinds of abuses are accepted. But when you're on this side...
Honorable member, your time is up. Yes, Honorable John Jinapo.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank the minority leader for bringing this issue to the fore, because it gives us the opportunity, first of all, to set the record straight. And Mr. Speaker, let me put on record and let me succinctly, without equivocation, without a shred of evidence, that under President Mahama's administration, there is no threat to freedom of speech, there is no threat to press freedom, and that if you communicate within the ambit of the Constitution, you would have no problem with the Republic, you have no problem with the state agencies. Mr. Speaker, I just want to quote one statement. This is Ghana Web. Mr. Speaker, young woman arrested for threatening President Mahama. Mr. Speaker, when you threaten the president, even in the most advanced country, even in the most democratic country, it's incumbent on the security agencies to invite you, pick you up, or act in accordance with law. And that is exactly what has been happening. Mr. Speaker, I recall, Honorable E.T. Mensah, a member of parliament, a former minister. He did not threaten the president. He did not threaten the state. All he said was that it has worked. No, that is it. It has worked. In Ghanaian parlance, no, not picking. He was picked. after stating that Afa, or it has worked, he was picked up. True or false? Jijote. You recall Jijote? She was arrested under President Kufuor. You recall Kwaku Anyido? That day when I went to the police headquarters, I was beaten mercilessly. I had to run away. So please don't create this impression as if President Mahama has become president and all of a sudden heaven has broken loose and people are arrested left, right, and center. That is not the case. That is not the case. I side with the minority leader that as parliament, we should encourage press freedom, we should encourage freedom of speech, but freedom of speech is not tantamount to threatening the president.
Please,
I'm not even
timekeepers,
interested in
stop the
insults.
time for John Jinapo. Yes, minority leader.
Speaker, with respect, the Honorable Minister for Energy and Green Transition is so well respected by this House. Mr. Speaker, for him to go on public record to say that he was beaten mercilessly. Mr. Speaker, no, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, order. Honourable members, order. Yes. Yes, minority leader. Yes, minority leader.
Mr. Speaker, I repeat, Honorable Honorable John Jinapo. Mr. Speaker, Dr. John Jinapo. Mr. Speaker, is a respected member of this House. Mr. Speaker, for him to go on public record to say that, Mr. Speaker, he was mercilessly beaten without, Mr. Speaker, without giving details, Mr. Speaker, without giving such details. Mr. Speaker, now, question. If he was beaten mercilessly, Mr. Speaker, this is a public record, and he's a Minister of State. We've all been in this chamber. And, Mr. Speaker, I was in this House, he came to meet me. In this House, Mr. Speaker, we never had this matter in this House. Mr. Speaker, two, Mr. Speaker, that the Honorable Samuel Mr. Speaker, that the Honorable Dr. John Jinapo says that he was beaten and he kept quiet, he kept it to himself, and he never reported. There was no medical report. The matter never came to this floor, even as a member of parliament. And Mr. Speaker, today, Mr. Speaker, if he said it on a lighter note, he should indicate so, or withdraw, Mr. Speaker. This is Hansard. I will plead with him. This is Hansard. Maybe you can avoid such exaggeration. But Mr. Speaker, I do not think that it's appropriate for a minister of state to say something on public records, the existence of which cannot be verified, Mr. Speaker, the existence of such act cannot be verified. The country is hearing of this the first time. And if he's saying it on a lighter note, I would want him to take note, because Hansard does not know. Hansard does not know your intention. Hansard would only record the words. So, Honorable Dr. John Jinapo, I beg of you, I cannot direct you to withdraw, but I beg of you to do the needful.
Honorable Jinapo, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, this is a very serious matter. And Honorable Afenyo, I also respect you a lot. If you look at Wednesday, 28 March 2018, former President Mahama has condemned the police for what he described as their high-handedness response to innocent Ghanaians who massed up at the police headquarters on Tuesday night in solidarity with arrested NDC General Secretary Kwaku Anyedeho. And Honorable Afenyo, let me tell you the truth. I was beaten. I'm not kidding. No, I'm not kidding. Look, I went there that evening to show solidarity, because then, at that time, President Mahama had gone to the CID headquarters to observe what was happening. And when we messed up, I recall this COP Kwesi Fore was his name. Yes, he came with the men. They started pouring hot water, that water with a chemical. They started pouring, and they started beating us. I'm being frank with you. I had to run away that day. This is on record. So when I stand here to make this statement, that we're beaten, it is true. We were beaten.
Stop the time for John Jinapo. Please stop the time. Honorable members, let's have some order. Let there be order. Honorable members, let's have some order. Samuel Jinapo, please resume your seat. Please resume your seat. Honorable members, order. You now have the floor. Honorable Jinapo.
Mr. Speaker,
John Jinapo, you have the floor.
In concluding,
please, you have the floor.
In conclusion,
You are eating into your time.
I want to conclude. Mr. Speaker, President Mahama will go on record as one of the most tolerant presidents ever in the history of this country. And I commend President Mahama for his patience, for his fortitude, and for his determination to serve this country. On this note, Mr. Speaker, I want to make it clear that whilst you have the right to speech, whilst you have the freedom to speak, you do not have the freedom to threaten the life of the president. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the venerable minority leader for such an insightful statement. Mr. Speaker, his statement highlights our reality. Our reality is one of abuse of the powers of arrest and indeed the court's power or discretion to grant or refuse bail in respect of cases involving persons alleged to have spoken in a manner that...
Honorable member, matters within the judiciary, let it lie there. Please.
Mr. Speaker, indeed, that is our reality. On the 29th of January 2026, the Ghana Journalists Association, in a press conference, raised alarm over escalating attack and threats against journalists. That is our reality. Mr. Speaker, not long ago, a respected journalist in this country, my learned colleague, Samson Ladi Ayenini, commented on the use of Section 208 of the Criminal Offences Act, Mr. Speaker, in dealing with people for exercising their right to free speech. And in his estimation, he estimated that in the last 17 months alone, in the last 16 months alone, 17 people have been arrested on the pretext of acting contrary to Section 208, that is, having exercised their right to free speech. They were arrested, Mr. Speaker, for having acted contrary to Section 208, just by speaking. Mr. Speaker, that is our reality. Mr. Speaker, in fact, there is really a reality that we need to look at. The reality is that our circumstance clearly flies in the face of the preamble of the 1992 Constitution. It flies in the face of it. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the preamble of the 1992 Constitution, in our solemn declaration to adopt this Constitution, we swore to protect and preserve the fundamental human rights and freedoms of our people, which includes Article 21. Mr. Speaker, what is even sad in this matter is that when these people are arrested, badly as it is, mostly the charges, very respectfully, are not supported by the facts. We can pardon the police because one would say that they do not have the training of lawyers. But what about the courts? What about the courts? For misdemeanors, people are now being remanded in this country. And we are not alone complaining about this. Persons, very respected persons, Mr. Speaker, from the side of the majority have also complained. The Right Honorable Haruna Idrisu complained about the manner in which this matter is being dealt with. The Interior Minister has also complained. Mr. Speaker, we are not alone, and we are inviting our brothers to join us. It doesn't matter how many people, even if one person is dealt with wrongly and contrary to the law, Mr. Speaker, it is wrong. And we need to correct that as a house. Free speech is the ordinary Ghanaian's tool for holding political power to account. Mr. Speaker, ours is protected in this chamber by the Constitution. And so, Mr. Speaker, if their speech, their right to free speech is being curtailed through intimidation and frequent arrest, their right to hold politicians to account is being taken away from them. And that, Mr. Speaker, cannot be pardoned. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, it is sad that unless our brothers join us in fighting this, there's the propensity that the president risks going down in history as the president under whose tenure innocent people were arrested and remanded just by exercising their right to free speech. And that, Mr. Speaker, will not be good for the president. Mr. Speaker, this is my submission.
Yes, honorable member.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to also commend the maker of the statement for bringing out this topic for all of us to judge on. Mr. Speaker, let me say that the Constitution, as rightly quoted by my friend, states that the sovereignty of Ghana resides in the people. The sovereignty of Ghana resides in the people. And the preamble says that in the exercise of our natural and inalienable rights to establish a framework of government which shall secure for ourselves and posterity the blessings of liberty, equality of opportunity, and prosperity. Mr. Speaker, this Constitution gives us that right to exercise whatever we have to do in the state for the benefit of ourselves and for the benefit of posterity. Mr. Speaker, I was expecting that instead of talking about free speech, free speech. We should talk and hammer on irresponsible speeches. These are the speeches that we should, as a people, as leadership, rise and speak against. Because this is something that, Mr. Speaker, you heard my learned friend talking about the fact that innocent people. It is these people who see themselves as innocent who are churning out hate speeches, churning out irresponsible speeches, and they get people to support them. My Lord, reading the statement of the minority leader, it reminded me of the Whig historians who were willfully one-sided in coming out with their historic facts. Because if you look at it, I was expecting that after we have spoken about enhancing, helping freedom of speech in this state to progress, so that the prosperity and the liberty that we are all looking for ourselves and for posterity, for ourselves and the yet unborn, would be done, we should ensure that we speak vehemently against people that make speeches that are wanton disregard for elderliness, wanton disregard for the dignity of others, wanton disregard for the respect that this nation is noted for. So I, Mr. Speaker, would say that when we talk about, my brother was talking about Article 21. In fact, Article 21 says that freedom of speech and expression includes freedom of press and other media. So it is wrong, it is not proper, it is not true that freedom of speech is different from freedom of the media. It includes. If you look at the freedom of the press, it includes. And when we talk about freedom of the press includes the media. It includes the media. So, Mr. Speaker, let me say that all of us, in fact, as I indicated earlier, all of us should come together. This nation has come thus far. We have progressed gradually. We have solidified our democracy, and that many people see us as an envy. They envy us. They envy our democracy. But the line we are going, where even leadership can stand up, people that we respect so much can stand up against the courts, can stand up and speak against judges. This is serious. This is something that we must not condone, because the courts are the last resort that we all run to when we are in trouble. So we have to guard the courts with the sanctity that the courts have. We need to protect the courts. And Mr. Speaker, the courts are established for all of us, to protect our democracy. So even if you have an issue with the courts, there are higher courts that you can go to. So if somebody is arrested and you go haywire, speaking, talking, just saying anything against the court, against the arresters, Mr. Speaker, what do you expect ordinary people? What do you expect the people who do not know even about the law, who do not know about the courts, who do not know about this? What do you expect them to say? So let us speak against hate speeches. Let us rise against people, irresponsible speeches, and that would help our democracy to grow, rather than going this tangent, which is myopically partisan, myopically count for all of us. Thank you very much.
Yes, Honorable Nyindam, you have the floor.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to also contribute to the statements ably made by the minority leader. Mr. Speaker, I believe that we all here will not be happy if what happened to some of our colleagues directly happens to any of us. Mr. Speaker, in January,
2023, 8 female students from China Senior High School in the Upper East region made some statements about former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And this is what they said. Mr. Speaker, they insulted the president to the extent that they even named the president head and went ahead to say that they want to use the president head for Pito. We all saw it in this country. Today, you cannot see it. Mr. Speaker, today, the majority side never heard it. Mr. Speaker, the school authority decided to dismiss these students. But the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, intervened and told them to please find another disciplinary way not to dismiss the students because their future is important. Mr. Speaker, nobody, I am not endorsing irresponsible speeches. I am not endorsing it. And I will never endorse it. Today, my colleague Sam George mentioned a statement made by somebody and said that person is calling for the death of the president. It's an irresponsible speech. I will not endorse it. But Mr. Speaker, so must we arrest such a person and put the person in detention to the extent that we call a bail condition that that person cannot provide? Is that what we are calling for this country? Those speeches that those children made, these SS students, they were even fed by the government by then. They were never arrested. That is the difference. That is the, Mr. Speaker, today, depending on where you are, depending on where you sit, you will never see anything wrong. The majority will never see anything wrong. But, Mr. Speaker, I saw something wrong. Mr. Speaker, let's be careful. There are issues that we must speak with one voice. Speeches like this must receive a unanimous discussion from the House. But if we decide to politicize everything, tomorrow, Mr. Speaker, the tables will turn. The tables will turn. The tables will turn. Mr. Speaker, let's all agree. Like I said, I am not endorsing irresponsible speeches. But Mr. Speaker, the cure is not what we are seeing today. That is not a cure. Where somebody says something, it doesn't sit well with the government, and the best we can do is to throw the person to jail. Mr. Speaker, that is not the way to go. Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Energy said he was beaten mercilessly. Mr. Speaker, when in this country, people went to demonstrate, they were also beaten mercilessly under a government. We saw it. We all saw it. In any case, the brother is telling me that he was not beaten. He was not beaten. In fact, he would have known. His own brother would have known that he was beaten. But Mr. Speaker, for convenience, he claims he was beaten. For convenience, he's sitting down telling us he was beaten. But Mr. Speaker, his blood brother, born with the same father,
Yes, let me give the floor to the back. Well, I'm informed we've done the 3-3. It's now leadership. So, minority leadership. Honorable Jerry Ahmed, you have the floor.
It is working now. Speaker, let me thank you very much for this opportunity and then also commend highly the mighty minority leader, Osayin Alexander Kwame Afenyo Market. Speaker, I start with a quote, and with your permission. On this quote, I'm taking from Justice William Joseph Brennan Jr., as it then was. And Speaker, it goes like this. In the case of New York Times Company versus Sullivan 376 US 254 270 in 1964. Speaker, debate on public issues should be uninhibited, robust, and wide open, and that it may well include vehement, caustic, and sometimes unpleasantly sharp attacks on government and public officials. Speaker, it goes on to say that erroneous statement is inevitable in free debate, and it must be protected. If the freedoms of expression are to have the breathing space that they need to survive, unquote, that they need to survive, unquote, Speaker. Speaker, I want to look at this as a political actor. And we are all seated here as honorable members of parliament who are political actors. Speaker, my wish would have been that we could have taken this statement and debated on same or commented on same without taking the political stance that we took. Speaker, whilst I proceed, let me make a clearer distinction that there is freedom of speech and there is press freedom. And Speaker, I start with another permission from you to quote from the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. And Speaker, let me read Article 21, with your permission. 21:1. All persons shall have the right to A, freedom of speech and expression, which shall include freedom of the press and other media. Speaker, it's obvious that press freedom is a component of freedom of speech. And Speaker, let me proceed even with a further distinction. Freedom of speech is the right of individuals to express their opinions, ideas, and information without undue government censorship or punishment. It generally applies to all people. Speaker, emphasis is on all people. Speaker, when you come to press freedom, it is the right of journalists and media organizations, emphasis, journalists and media organizations, to gather, publish, and distribute news and information without government interference, censorship, or intimidation. Speaker, these are the clear, very distinct differences between freedom of speech and then press freedom, which press freedom is a component of freedom of speech. Speaker, as I now proceed, we have been, in very recent times, been confronted with a lot, and Speaker, the list is unending, a lot of arrest just because one is dealing with an issue of what? Expression, which is freedom of expression or freedom of speech. Speaker, people get to say very basic things and they are arrested. One is Dumso is back. And then you arrest the person. And Speaker, I have the list and I'm going to share with you. Speaker, the very recent one was published by one David Esando, who hinted that Dumso is back. Speaker, this young man was arrested from Aguna Stradru and was sent to a security institution unknown to his family and friends until about 2 days later. Speaker, I have a list of Kwame Bafo alias Abronye. I have John Intim-Fojo, who is our colleague. I have Paul Adomachi. I have Daniel Adomaku. I have Muhammad Zakuo. I have Yaya Abiu. I have Fanti Comedy. Speaker, as we speak today, Fanti Comedy has been rearrested. Speaker, today, as we speak, Fanti Comedy has been rearrested. And you don't want us to talk about it because...
Honourable member, your time is up. It's now the turn of the majority. Yes, majority. Please, everybody, 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, today we are debating or commenting on a statement that relates to a very important principle enshrined in our Constitution, the freedom of speech. Mr. Speaker, in canvassing support for their claim that freedom of speech is under threat, they cite the case of a person who was allegedly arrested because that person said Dumso is back. Mr. Speaker, the irony of it is that that person was being arrested and prosecuted because that person was undermining somebody else's freedom of speech. That person was undermining somebody else's freedom of speech. Why do I say so? If you take somebody's poster, artwork, and you go and alter the artwork to say what the person did not say, yes, it's a cybercrime. That undermines the right of that person to freely speak. So that was the crime. To misinform the public. Mr. Speaker, the issues before us border also on a second instance, which is somebody saying that the president should be killed. Somebody saying that the wife of the president. Somebody saying.
Please, timekeepers, keep the time for the majority leader. Can we have some order in the house? Honorable Nuruddin, please, let's have some order in the house. Let's have some order in the house. Yes, majority leader, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, somebody saying that a president should be killed and that his wife should be beheaded. Mr. Speaker, in this country, we are governed by laws. The Criminal Offences Act was passed in 1960. In the Criminal Offences Act, passed as far back as 1960, to threaten the life of anybody, not even a president, to threaten the life of anybody is an offense. To threaten the life of anybody is an offense. So, Mr. Speaker, I am surprised that members of parliament will come to this house and make a statement in defense of somebody who says that a president should be killed. In defense of somebody who will say that the wife of a president should be beheaded. Mr. Speaker, I am surprised. I am surprised. And to speak as if that the laws of this country allow people to say anything. Mr. Speaker, let's not forget what happened in Rwanda. The genocide in Rwanda, part of it was attributed to reckless speech. Speech that incited one tribe against the other. Speech that demonized one tribe. Speech that normalized the killing of one tribe. That is what caused the genocide in Rwanda. And that is why, as far back as 1960, our Criminal Offences Act made it very clear that you cannot make such statements in this country. If, as a House, we want to debate it because we think that times have changed and therefore it is now okay for anyone to say that Afenyo should be killed, that his wife should be beheaded.
Honourable Majority Leader, with all due respect, your time is up. Honourable members, we will then take another statement standing in the name of Honourable Patricia Piaget, Member of Parliament for Asokwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm taking this opportunity to draw the attention of the clerk at table that my name has been rightly spelled on the statement, but wrongly spelled in the other paper. And it appears regularly, so I need to bring it to your attention. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to brief the august House about the fate of an estimated 12,000 women and girls in Ghana living with a very debilitating and humanizing condition called obstetric fistula. As representatives of the people, we can no longer ignore the challenges faced by the survivors of obstetric fistula, who are our mothers, daughters, and sisters. Mr. Speaker, let us consider what these women endure for a moment. Following prolonged obstructed labor without access to emergency delivery care, they develop a tear or an abnormal connection or a hole between the birth canal and the bladder or rectum, leaving them incontinent. As a result, they uncontrollably leak urine, feces, and sometimes both, and therefore carry along a smell. Mr. Speaker, beyond the physical pain and chronic medical complications, they face immense social stigma and isolation. Many would have lost their babies in the process, abandoned by their husbands and family, rejected by their communities, and left without any means of livelihood. because of the smell in most cases. They cannot even travel on public transport or work in public spaces. Mr. Speaker, if obstetric fistula was a person, I would profile such a person as lowly educated, married young, or got her first pregnancy as a teenager, mostly lived in rural areas with poor access to medical care, and would have lived with a fistula for between 2 years to as high as 20 plus years because she did not know it could be treated or because it cannot afford the repair cost. Often, the survivors come from northern part of Ghana or the Volta region. Right Honorable Mr. Speaker, it is imperative to note that obstetric fistula is not a curse or caused by witchcraft, but a problem during delivery, a medical situation that is preventable and treatable. It can largely be avoided by a situation that is preventable, that is delaying the first pregnancy until the reproductive system is matured. Cessation of harmful traditional practices such as child marriage and female genital mutilation, and timely access to obstetrics care that is close by, staffed with skilled personnel, medical equipment, and supplies. It is treatable, thereby restoring the dignity and livelihood of survivors. Mr. Speaker, a study in 2025 on the burden of obstetrics fistula in Ghana by UNFPA and the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons, it is estimated that roughly 2 cases occur out of every 1,000 deliveries. This translates to nearly 845 new cases each year. Yet each year, only 60 to 200 of these cases receive the critical surgical repair they deserve. The remaining 77% are either unable to afford the $500 estimated cost of repair or are unable to reach the available services. Only a few health facilities have a surgical team with skills in fistula repairs. Each year, May 23rd is observed globally as the International Day to End Obstetrics Fistula. In 2003, the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, and partners launched the global campaign on this day to end obstetrics fistula by 2030. In Ghana, this year, the event included a high-level dignitaries visit to obstetric fistula multi-site repairs at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital and the Mercy Women Hospital in Mankazim. I had the singular honor as the chairperson of the Parliamentary Caucus of Population and Development to join the Honorary Deputy Minister of Health, the chair of the Select Committee on Health, the United Nations Population Fund, and other partners to visit Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital to observe fistula repairs firsthand and to empathize with fistula clients as well as interact with surgical and hospital management teams about the condition and what can be done to accelerate efforts to end fistula in Ghana. The visit was indeed an eye-opener and has stirred up an even greater motivation and passion in me to ask that all of you, honorable members of parliament, join me to speak and advocate on behalf of the women and girls suffering from this humiliating condition. I understand that the government has a national fistula strategy, but it needs to be updated. The universal health coverage, national health insurance scheme, and Mahama Cares are all policies and initiatives that can support interventions to prevent and repair fistula cases. But, Honorable Speaker, with an estimated 7,000 to 12,000 fistula cases between barely 60 to 200 cases repaired per year, Ghana cannot achieve the target of the global campaign to end obstetrics fistula by 2030. We need accelerated repairs of about 2,200 to 3,000 every year. Fistula repair is not included in the National Health Insurance or Mahama Cares. Hence, the survivor who has no job because of the smell still needs to pay approximately about 5,000 to receive repair services. As representatives of our various constituencies, what can we do as members to end this preventable suffering? First and foremost, we must strengthen legislation and policy framework and prioritize maternal health care, particularly emergency obstetrics care in undeserved areas. For instance, we can make a policy that makes totally free health care for maternity and delivery care, and more importantly, include free care for conditions that arise out of pregnancy, maternity, and delivery care, such as fistula. Currently, the National Health Insurance does not cover this kind of condition. Hence, the need for a fistula survivor to look for the approximately 5,000 cedis. But with no work, a fistula survivor is left to charity services for her care and not protected by our national care package. We urge the government to include fistula as free of cost in its service package, including the Mahama Care Initiative. The community health actions under universal health care must also include searching for fistula survivors so that they are picked up early and repaired and not left to live long without care, as some of the cases testified at CAT. Secondly, we extend our request to the Ministry of Health and Ghana Health Services to increase capacity for repairs of fistula from the 200 cases per year to over 2,000 by having more sites located in prevalent zones with the capacity to repair. Hospitals need performance targets on the number of fistula repairs they need to make in a year. If we are to achieve the 2030 target in terms of accountability, the Ministry of Health and Ghana Health Services should provide annual updates on cases repaired compared to targets. Finally, we must use our platforms and influence to mobilize our communities to raise awareness about obstetrics fistula, combat stigma, increase the number of repairs, and advocate for the dignity and rights of affected women. In working with traditional and religious leaders, we must proactively mobilize against teenage pregnancy and child marriage, and more importantly, support timely seeking care for the pregnant women to avoid delayed care that may lead to delivery complications. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, a fistula is a problem we can address. Let us pledge to work together to create a future where no woman suffers his preventable condition, where every expectant mother can receive the care she deserves, and where those who have already been affected find healing, support, and respect. Honorable Speaker, obstetrics fistula occurs in these women mostly through no fault of theirs, but simply because they wanted to fulfill their reproductive function, to have babies. Sadly, despite their good intentions to contribute to humanity, we stigmatize and reject them. Perhaps we should support and celebrate them as heroes for life. Parliament, I wish to commend UNFPA and its partners for their work on fistula. I ask Parliament to let us join the partnership to end obstetrics fistula in Ghana now and act collectively to end obstetrics fistula in Ghana. I thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Honourable members, that was a statement ably made. I will give the floor to Honourable Haji Aladi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to comment on the statement ably made by my colleague, the Deputy Minority Leader, Honourable Patricia Ejei. Mr. Speaker, obstetric fistula has been in the system for quite a long time, and it's a very worrying source of pain to most women. Listening to what she has said, she has clearly stated why, where, and how. Most of these cases, as she mentioned, are from especially widows in the northern sector, that is Upper East, Upper West, Northern region, and the other two. Then from the Volta region. Mr. Speaker, someone might ask, what is the cause? And when obstetric fistula is mentioned, it is simply a tear between the delivery part, that is the vagina, and the anus. When a tear occurs, to the extent that where the child is coming from and the anus tear and get together, now the anus can no longer control the feces and the vagina cannot control the urine. So the two, which we know, flow just uncontrollably. They flow uncontrollably. And Mr. Speaker, you can imagine, especially the poor women who have no idea. Many a times, there are times, maybe when it also happens during when we have female genital mutilation. We have learned that during the cutting, sometimes the women who practice this incidentally cut wrongly, and we have this problem. During childbirth, when this happens, most of the women, because of lack of education, they do not know how to seek for health care, and they also do not have the funds, even if it is mentioned to them. And so some of them find it difficult to even come out of their shells and talk about it. And once they don't have money, and as she has mentioned, there are just but a few centers And the very first one is what she mentioned to be at Mankasim, the Mercy Hospital at Mankasim. Now imagine a woman having to travel from the Upper East, most probably to Tamale, to Kumasi, to Accra, or to Mankasim. The lorry fare alone, the transportation stops that woman, not to talk about payment for the treatment. What I will suggest today is that in the first place, education should continue, especially with the nurses and doctors who visit either homes, clinics, or the CHIPS. This education should be given so that women will be aware. That awareness should be created. Secondly, we need government to ensure that at least there are centers in every region. There should be centers in every region where women can easily gain access to treatment. The other issue is that the Mahama Care should please kindly take interest in this particular issue. The amount to be paid is something that most women who are affected cannot afford. Mr. Speaker, I believe if we give the support with the concern of this House, it will go a long way to relieve the
Yes, Dr. Nawani, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I want to thank the Honorable Madam Appiagyei for bringing this issue to the floor of Parliament. I think about a week or two ago, we were all in Kumasi, myself, the Deputy Minister, and Madam Appiagyei, to take part in the commissioning of a center at the Confederacy Teaching Hospital. But let me clear this thing. I think that let us not mix up urinary incompetence and rectal incompetence with a fistula. That is passing, not being able to hold on to urine or not being able to hold on to feces. In actual fact, she explained it during the statement, but let me repeat it. It is when the head of a baby is descending, coming down, and there's obstruction or a block. If it is at the back or posterior, that is where the rectum is. So it will erode the wall of the uterus, go and erode the wall of the rectum, and you have feces passing from the rectum into the vagina. So you have feces passing through the vagina. If it is in front, if the obstruction is in front, the erosion will take place at the front part, and on top of the uterus or in front of the uterus is the bladder. So it will erode and go and erode that of the neck of the bladder, and you will have urine also passing through the vagina. And so this is a very big problem for the women. I mean, in my clinical practice, I met a lot of women who are coming with this problem. Initially, when they are coming, they come with their husbands. But later on, when the husbands realize that this feces, the urine, is passing through the vagina, they abandon them. Let's just call a spade what is a spade for you to understand. Yes. And it is not only a medical problem. It is a socioeconomic problem. It is a human rights problem. And we have to deal with it. And in Ghana here, just like she has said, we have about 1,300 cases in a year. And we are only able to operate less than 200 cases a year. And so there's always a backlog of cases that we cannot operate, or we do not operate. It is estimated that between 12,000 to 15,000 women in Ghana are living with a condition. But because of stigmatization, they do not come out. Some of them even stop going to church because they smell of feces, they smell of urine, and that is keeping them out of the social interaction. And so we have a problem. Our mothers have a problem. Our sisters have a problem. Our daughters have a problem. And we need to look at the situation and get the number of operations that are done in a year increase. The limiting factor is finance. Let us all accept it, that one of the limiting factor is finance. And we need to educate our women and make sure that we put some fund together or we get some money. Members of Parliament, I want to use this opportunity to appeal to you to look for them. They might not even look for you. They feel shy to come and tell you that this is the problem that I have. Look for them, assist them financially to carry out this operation. We are also appealing to Mahama Care and all other voluntary organizations. Some NGOs are picking up these issues to ensure that we are able to carry out operations and remove this backlog of cases that are in the system. So let us unite and help our women. Let us unite and educate our women.
Yes, Honourable Member, your time is up. I will proceed to give the floor to Honourable. Yes.
Speaker, I want to make an application to you. Mr. Speaker, my application basically is founded on the very educative submissions coming from our colleague who is a medical doctor, and he appears to be a practitioner who has in-depth knowledge in this field. Mr. Speaker, it helps us. So with your leave, and with your leave only, if, Mr. Speaker, you can help with the extension of time for him in particular, Mr. Speaker, to complete the education. Because, Mr. Speaker, I'm really listening and it would help me. I know it will help.
Yes, Honourable Majority Leader, what do you say? Yes, you have 3 more minutes.
Let me just add the
You have
last
3
one.
more minutes.
Okay.
So timekeepers.
Our teenage daughters, the young ones, those between 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, who anatomically or biologically are not well developed, let us advise them to avoid teenage pregnancy. Because even though it affects all age groups, they are the most people that are at risk. And so we should advise them, because their pelvic is not yet ready, or the size of their pelvic is not yet ready for a baby. And when that happens, then there is what? A CPD. That is, the head is bigger than the pelvis, and this can lead to obstruction, and this can lead to this condition. And you realize that proportionally, it occurs in them more than any other age group. So let us make sure that we get our teenage daughters aware of this and don't get pregnant so early. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, Honorable Matthew Nyindam.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to also contribute to this statement ably made by our Deputy Minority Leader. Mr. Speaker, I haven't sat down and listened to the experts and haven't gone through the statement ably put together by the Deputy Minority Leader. These are things that, Mr. Speaker, I will want to urge our medical practitioners, our medical doctors, our nurses. Mr. Speaker, some of these things are not known to our mothers and our sisters. They are not known. So we need, Mr. Speaker, to embark on education seriously. Because if you look at the statement, and having listened to my colleague here, obstruction, just like he said, and he's citing, or the statement also brought up about women or young girls that are below age and for some reason got themselves pregnant. They are more opened and more vulnerable to this particular phenomenon because you are underage, you are not developed, but unfortunately, you are forced to give birth. Unfortunately, if you get yourself into this particular situation, it is then that we begin to talk about finance. We begin to talk about money. How many of, Mr. Speaker, of these children that will get themselves pregnant at the teen age will be able to bring or afford the money that will repair such a situation? Obviously, it will be difficult. And having read the statement, you realize that most of the places that some of these things occur are areas that poverty is endemic. That is where you get these children go to look for their own daily bread, unfortunately lured by men, get themselves pregnant, and then unfortunately find it difficult to give birth. So, Mr. Speaker, my point particularly, which I want to stress forcefully, that the Minister of Health must, as a matter of priority, give some kind of directions that this particular situation, education is given. We also look at prolonged birth, where unfortunately our roads are so bad. Those of us from the villages, village constituencies like Mandai, a woman gets pregnant in a community called Digengem, and how to get him to Pandai, sometimes, Mr. Speaker, is problematic. Means of transport, sometimes too, Mr. Speaker, these children are kept, or these mothers are kept home for a very long time by traditional birth attendants, thinking that they will be able to deliver these mothers successfully. But unfortunately, when it becomes so complicated, they now want to move this mother from the village to where a medical center is available. And by the time they get there, Mr. Speaker, things are late, or things cannot be done any longer. So I would therefore urge that we should rather stress on education more, so that when awareness is created, mothers can learn, the young ones can learn, so that we don't get ourselves to a situation where we have to come and be relying on sources of funding. I know we've spoken about Mahama Care, but Mr. Speaker, I can tell you that if you ask the amount of money that is in Mahama Care now, it is highly, highly insufficient. Highly, highly insufficient.
So I will urge that we focus more on education so that at the end of the day, awareness is created and some of these situations can be averted. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, Honorable Zuera, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to contribute to the statement made by the Deputy Minority Leader, Honorable Patricia Piaget. Mr. Speaker, it's, the subject matter is one that gets all of us excited and to some extent even agitated. Mr. Speaker, I learned about vascular fistula, VVF, when I was a young girl growing up in northern Nigeria. And at that time, it was so prevalent, it was scary, even watching the news in the evenings without a case of VVF being reported. Over the years, Mr. Speaker, medical science, medical and hospital infrastructure have enabled a certain reduction in the numbers and data of VVF. Mr. Speaker, the maker of the statement indicated that we are expected to eliminate VVF by the year 2030. Mr. Speaker, currently where we sit with the infrastructure of our medical health delivery, I think it's going to be a long call for us. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the demographics, it talks about young people. It talks about early marriages. It talks about uneducated women. And it talks about even women who are full-time housewives. These women clearly lack the awareness and what they have to do during such circumstances. Apart from looking at how expensive it is to treat this condition, I think we have to begin to look at what we can do to enable a reduction or a complete eradication of this condition. The condition will remain with us until we are ready to invest in health facilities in our localities. The statement put it right when the maker of the statement said that these conditions happen mainly in rural areas and in parts of northern Ghana. Mr. Speaker, we have a lot of our rural communities without healthcare centers. In my constituency of Salaga South, if someone got into labor at Sope, they will have to cross the White Volta on a canoe. It doesn't matter what time of the day, even if it's in the middle of the night, to Yeji. That's the nearest hospital where they can get professional care. Mr. Speaker, we need to begin to look at how we can improve on the infrastructure to enable our people who live outside the cities, outside the big towns, to access quality health care when they find themselves in these conditions. Mr. Speaker, in light of this, we are excited that at least currently the District Assembly Common Fund guidelines indicates that in every district, at least 2 healthcare centers must be built in a year. Mr. Speaker, if we travel with this policy, it wouldn't take a long time before we can cover a lot of areas and communities in our country. But Mr. Speaker, let me add that it is not enough to provide the healthcare centers. We have to begin to look at what we can do to motivate professional doctors, experts, specialists, to agree to work in these places. Otherwise, for a greater number of the victims of VVF in the rural areas, they are attended to by our traditional birth attendants who don't have the skills to know when even a cesarean section can save a potential mother from VVF. All they know is push, continue pushing. In some instances, local concoctions are administered on the mother to enable them push the baby out. We have to begin to look at a holistic investment in the healthcare center. As members of parliament, we get confronted with these issues on a daily basis, where transporting a mother from one community to the big town becomes a major issue. No roads, no ambulances.
Yes, let me give you the last opportunity.
Okay. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, anytime you hear of an obstetric fistula, in simple terms, what it means is that you have had a neglected labor. Anytime obstetric fistula is mentioned, then it means you've had a neglected labor. Neglected labor in the sense that you've had a labor that has not been properly managed. And when you talk of fistulas, essentially, in trying to explain what a fistula is, I just want us to go through this scenario. At the back, we have a bone, and in front, we have soft tissues. Once there's pressure between an oncoming head, between the bladder or the rectum against the sacrum, obviously you are going to have a certain connection between the two. But Mr. Speaker, I always say in this country, we have about 55% of our women attending antenatal care. It is only when we attend antenatal care, proper antenatal services, that we are able to pick up these risk factors that we are talking about. We'll find out that this lady is a teenage patient that will know how to manage. We'll find out that this patient, for example, has malnutrition, and because of malnutrition, possibly the bones of the pelvis have not been properly formed. Quite apart from that, Right Honorable Speaker, if we want to end obstetric fistula, one of the key things we may have to look at is family planning. Once you don't get pregnant, then you are not going to suffer the complications of pregnancy. What is the family planning acceptance rate in this country? Our family planning acceptance rate is just about 33%. So what it means is that if you pick 100 women in Ghana, just about 33 of them accept to take any form of family planning. Once we have such low acceptance rate, it means that our women are going to be exposed to the risk and then the complications that come with pregnancy and delivery. In our bid to solve the problems of obstetric fistula, Right Honorable Speaker, we may build all the facilities, but if we do not have the specialist, Mr. Speaker, it is not every doctor that can repair a fistula. I am an obstetrician gynecologist, but I cannot repair a fistula. You would require somebody that is possibly a urogynecologist or a gynecologist that has had some level of training in the repair of fistulas. So it's not just a simple procedure where a medical officer of any sort can just be sent to a health facility and then we say that you repair a fistula. For this matter, Mr. Speaker, I would want to pay glowing tributes to doctors like Dr. Gandao in Northern Region and Dr. Karim of Kolibu Teaching Hospital. These are doctors that over the years have traveled through the length and breadth of this country to ensure that our women that struggle through this life of VVFs, they have their fistulas repaired and then their quality of life is returned to them. Currently, as we speak, in Tamale, at the Tamale Central Hospital, we have one fistula center. That center is closed. In Tamale, as we speak, we don't have a urogynecologist. Yes, we have gynecologists that may be repairing fistulas. But thankfully, a lot of things have been said, especially said by Mama Pat, with respect to the Mahama Care. Mahama Care may not necessarily be building facilities today, but the Ghana Medical Trust Fund has gone into partnership with the College of Physicians and Nurses, with the College of Physicians and Surgeons, to ensure that every region in Ghana has at least one trained specialist doctor that would take care of our patients. That is what the Ghana Medical Trust Fund is doing. So in the next 3 to 4 years, and then the training is going to be such a way that no doctor is going to be moved from, say, Upper East region to come to Accra to be trained. We are going to keep the doctors right in Upper East region. The specialists from the physicians and surgeons would move to the Upper East region, they would move to the Northern region, they would move to the Volta region, and ensure that we train those specialists in those regions, and then they will provide the services for the good people of Ghana. It should be our resolve as a country that no woman who has decided to bring forth life should suffer any form of complication whatsoever, be it maternal death, be it fistula. You and I, every member of parliament, every Ghanaian, every woman deserves that dignity of childbirth. Every woman deserves that dignity of living and seeing that they are well and healthy and they.
Your time is up. Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I rise to associate myself with this very important conscience-stirring statement delivered by the Honorable Chairperson of the Parliamentary Caucus on Population and Development, who also doubles bona fide as the Deputy Minority Leader of our caucus. Mr. Speaker, what she has placed before Parliament is not merely a health report. It is a moral indictment on our collective inaction and a call to which each one of us must answer. And let us be very clear about what we are discussing. We are not talking about a rare or exotic disease. We're talking about a condition that results directly from the failure of our healthcare system to be present when a woman needs it most, and at the moment she tries to bring a child into this world. Mr. Speaker, at the risk of being repetitive, here are the statistics I would want to quote again. 12,000 women living with fistula in Ghana today. 845 estimated new cases every year. 60 to 200 cases actually repaired per year. 77% of cases left without surgical repair. Mr. Speaker, those numbers demand a pause. Every year, we repair at most 200 cases, yet 845 new cases arise. We are not merely standing still, we are falling further behind. And at this rate, Mr. Speaker, 2030 global elimination target is not aspirational, it is fictional. And the fiction is being written in the suffering of women in our constituencies. Mr. Speaker, a member earlier commented that this is not just a medical situation, it is also a human rights situation. And Mr. Speaker, who are the most affected in our country? The rural poor. The rural poor. And the estimated cost for repair, surgical repair, is 5,000 Ghana cedis. I would want to add my voice to the call by members, including the maker of the statement, to do the following. Mr. Speaker, the House must consider it an urgent decision to take. 1, direct the Ministry of Health to include obstetric fistula. Mr. Speaker, you know, when you are not in that field, like the lawyer talking about Latin, and when we use Latin, you have difficulty. Mr. Speaker, let us include obstetric fistula repair in the NHIS benefits package. end in the new medical care, Ghana Medical Fund, the law that we passed, Mr. Speaker, that must be done without delay. A 5,000 Ghana cedi out-of-pocket cost for a woman with no income is not a barrier. It is a wall. Second, we as a house must also direct a mandatory annual reporting from the Ministry of Health and Ghana Health Service on fistula cases detected, repaired, and still outstanding. What is measured is managed. What is reported to Parliament is accountable. Third, this House should direct a ministerial support for the expansion of fistula repair capacity from the current handful of sites to a network of facilities, particularly in the northern, upper east, upper west, and Volta regions, each with trained surgical teams and clear annual performance targets. Mr. Speaker, fourth, each one of us in this chamber must have a duty to commit to raising awareness in our constituencies, dispelling the stigma, the myth about cases, and the shame that keeps survivors hidden for years or decades. Our platforms are powerful precisely because our communities trust us. Mr. Speaker, finally, I add my voice to our colleague who, Speaker, we agreed on. Sure.
Please give him extra time.
Okay, thank you. Speaker, fourth, as members of Parliament, commit to raising awareness in our constituencies.
Extra 5 minutes.
Dispelling the stigma, the myth about the cases, and the shame that keeps survivors hidden for years or decades. Our platforms as members of Parliament are powerful precisely because our communities trust us. And Mr. Speaker, the final recommendation for action, I would want to repeat the point made by our colleague who spoke before me and is a practitioner in the medical field, a medical doctor. Mr. Speaker, he says he's a gynae, and he added in his comments that there must be trained specialists every year and be distributed across the regions to see to this. Mr. Speaker, this is an investment that must be included in the budget of the Ministry of Health. And since the Deputy Minister is here, and I'm sure she's taking note for the Minister, in the media review, this must be a serious matter to be considered in the budget for the Ministry of Health, or that any emergency funding arrangement must be provided for in the budget so that this training, Mr. Speaker, is done. Mr. Speaker, that said, I would want to quote what the Honorable Member said in a statement. Quote, "A fistula is a problem we can address." I agree, and I would want to add, a problem we have chosen not to address until now is a choice that reflects our values as Parliament. Let us choose differently today. End quote. Mr. Speaker, hepatitis B came to this floor, became an issue on this floor, that we have HIV being covered by health insurance, yet hepatitis B is not covered by health insurance. And many more people in Ghana die out of hepatitis B. It is estimated that over 3 million Ghanaians live with hepatitis B. They die faster than HIV. They don't get any support. They are not covered by health insurance. Mr. Speaker, we cannot allow this to happen. So, Mr. Speaker, whilst the minister gave a promise to address the issue of hepatitis B, to add it to the health insurance, this important matter has also come. The time to add this condition to our health insurance, as well as train medical practitioners specifically to deal with this, is now. Mr. Speaker, let's not fail our people. The women living in this condition did not choose their circumstances. They chose life, the life of a child, the joy of motherhood, and were punished for that choice by a system that was not there for them. It is time for the system to show up. It is time for Parliament to show up. I fully support this statement and urge all honorable members to add their voice, their resources, and their advocacy to the effort to end obstetric fistula in Ghana. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for this treasure space.
Yes, majority. Yes, Deputy Minister for Health, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to comment on this statement aptly made by Honorable Patricia P.J. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to obstetric fistula, as I think all my colleagues have mentioned, it could either be a VVF, which Honorable Ajia was talking about, which is between the birth organs and the bladder where the patient urinates, or it could be also between the birth organs and the rectum. So we have two different types of fistulas, vesicofistula, vesicovaginal, and then rectovaginal. So both of them, what happens when it's a VVF, like she mentioned, the woman is constantly leaking urine. When it's the other way, the woman is constantly leaking stool. So there is no barrier so all the time they are leaking. So because of that, they are stigmatized. And because of that, most of them, their husbands leave them with a baby, and they can't even go to work because they are constantly leaking either stool or they're leaking urine. So, Mr. Speaker, knowing this, the ministry has been working on maternal mortality and also morbidity issues. Mr. Speaker, the maternal mortality numbers, or the index in Ghana, is the health index that is trending the wrong direction. Last year, we had over 1,000 women die. We have about 955 women die in pregnancy or while they were getting delivery. Mr. Speaker, the ministry is seriously working on it, but instead of couching it in our Mahama cares, we want to couch it under our free primary health care. Because, Mr. Speaker, most of these deliveries are happening at the CHIPS compound level, at the health center level, and also at the polyclinic level. So at the basic health care facilities is where we are having these deliveries. So the free primary health care will capture this condition, because we can also use the community health nurses to talk about community sensitization. We can use the community health nurses to do the education. We can use the community health nurses to also work on birth control. Mr. Speaker, if we're able to do that and we are able to screen them properly, we can identify the high-risk women at that level, because the research shows that at least 80-something% of these women are attending skilled birth deliveries. So these are not the women that are having the babies at home. They are actually coming to health professionals for this delivery. So that means that, one, either we are not identifying them at the source, we are not screening the high-risk women and escalating their care to the appropriate care, or that there's something inherent in the operations that we are doing in terms of the cesarean sections, or that we are missing when the birth is obstructed, as Honorable Hajia said, we are not able to bring them to skilled surgical care. So, Mr. Speaker, under our maternal mortality action plan, which we are putting together with a clear-cut roadmap, we will capture the obstetric fistula under the free primary health care. And with the Mahama cares, we will train the specialists who are going to do these operations, because you need a urogynecologist. A urogynecologist will not only work on fistulas, but can also do other complex operations. So we have really worked on it. Last week, I was in Kumasi with Honorable Patricia J., and we were there specifically on this issue. The ministry has also been to Yendi specifically on this issue. We've been to Tamale specifically on this issue because the UNFPA is also supporting the government to build fistula centers. So we have standalone fistula centers, one in Yendi, where the family can even come and live there, and then we can do the surgery and do appropriate post-operative care. Yet last week when Mama Pat, or Honorable Patricia J. and myself went to Kumasi, we have also lobbied the UNFPA to actually build a standalone fistula center in Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. So, Mr. Speaker, the government is on course. This issue actually has been assigned to me in terms of maternal mortality and morbidity issues, and we are diligently working on it under the leadership.
Our members, we've come to the end of statement for today. Regarding the last statement, I would direct that the statement be transmitted to the Minister responsible for health. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we agree to take a few clauses of the Community Service Bill. So if we can take some three clauses. A few clauses here.
Yes, Minority Leader.
Speaker, I'm not opposed to the application by the respected leader of the House. Mr. Speaker, save that I put in a request to him for us to winnow on the bill. That has not been done. He rather suggested I file my proposed amendment, which I've done. But, Mr. Speaker, I think we can do a much more collaborative work if we meet at the winnowing level to discuss, so that we don't come to this House to be debating. Mr. Speaker, I have an indication that there is a private member's bill on bail, and I believe that we can fuse these two legislations and create one, all-inclusive law to deal with post-conviction and pre-conviction custody issues, especially so when very senior members have raised major concerns on this issue of bail. Honorable Harun Idrisu has had occasion to express concerns about the nature of bail that is granted, very, very onerous conditions. And we've also heard from Honorable Muntaka Mubarak, the Interior Minister. I myself have had cause to raise these concerns at very important, fora. And I believe that if we are thinking about tomorrow, then whatever law that we are passing, we shouldn't be looking at it in piecemeal. We should look at it carefully for the sake of democracy, for the sake of our country, so that we don't treat it like, oh, yesterday it happened to somebody, so it is somebody's turn. Then we are at each other's throats. This parliament has every power to clean up the system. And that is my only humble prayer. If it is accepted, we'll go along. If not, Mr. Speaker, as the rule goes, the minority should have their say, the majority should have their way. I rest my case.
Yes, let me hear the minister responsible for education.
Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minority Leader called my name, and it's important that he quotes me in context. Yes, it's true that I have publicly said that bail conditions should not be onerous. That is the law, and he knows the law. You know the ruling of the court. I'll share the citation with you, Mr. Speaker, but certainly there are limitations even to that onerous standard. If you are a fugitive of justice, you are not entitled to bail. Persons who would not make themselves available or avail themselves for trial. And you know there are one or two persons who have demonstrated that behavior. But it's true, Mr. Speaker, that I have said that judges have been told, and told forcefully, that they should never use denial of bail as punishment for accused persons. And I said so on two constitutional principles and values. One, accused persons' right to a fair trial, and two, presumption of innocence of the accused person. But Mr. Speaker, even in that ruling, the judges said that not applicable to persons who have even not afforded themselves the opportunity for a fair trial. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I think we were just asking for us to take the community service bill through the consideration stage. So I still urge that we should proceed to start looking at the bill. There are a number of amendments proposed by the minority leader. It may well be that they might not really be issues that the committee or chairperson has objections to. If we find that we are spending too much time on amendments proposed by members, then we can think about referring the bill to winnowing. But for now, I think we should proceed. Let's try and cover some 5 clauses. Oh, you asked to make a statement. You were granted your statement. You made a statement. This was a small government business too. 5 clauses. And how many clauses do we have outstanding? Chairperson, how many clauses are outstanding? We're at 31. How many clauses is the entire bill? 54. So let's just do 64. So let's just do 5 clauses. 5 clauses will not even, scratch the surface of the problem. But let's just try and cover 5 because we've been sitting the whole day.
Honourable members, Community Service Bill 2026 at consideration.
Speaker, Leader of Government Business has prayed. I'm not opposed to his prayer. But Mr. Speaker, in view of what we all know, I want to know whether the Leader of Government Business has the express authorization from the Right Honourable Speaker. For us to proceed.
Community Service Bill 2026 at consideration stage. That's a matter between the Leader of Government Business and the Speaker.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, that is very important. Mr. Speaker, I agree with you that is between...
Clause 22.
Mr. Speaker, your minority leader...
Minority leader, sometimes we have to be fair.
Mr. Speaker, that's fine.
You raise this issue of taking bail into consideration in this bill. This has clearly been resolved in this House that it cannot be. Now, if somebody has a private member's bill on bail, that clearly has not been communicated to the House. So, does it lie in your mouth,
Mr. Speaker,
to say that minority leader, do you have the authorization of the Speaker?
Oh, Mr. Speaker, we are all here to guide the process and to assist you.
Please, I know what exactly you are doing. Clause 22. Chairman of the committee.
Very well, Mr. Speaker, as it pleases you. as it pleases you.
Clause 22, Chairman of the
Yes,
Committee.
Mr. Speaker. Amendment proposed after clause 22, insert the following new clauses.
Please, clause 22, do you have any proposed amendment?
No. Mr. Speaker, we don't have an amendment.
So it is for the consideration of the House. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, clause 22(1)(b). The national coordinator shall ensure the effective, I would have proposed an effective implementation of the decisions of the board. Even the word management, what is it doing there? Unless, of course, when you were establishing the board, you said it was a management board. So delete the word management and just leave board. Management board. But Mr. Speaker, I'm traveling back the bill to see where management board was established. If you have a board, you have a board. But our composition of the management board is still a board. Why do you want to repeat management as you go along? But I want, Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, and leave 22(1)(b), the word management, delete, and before implementation, add effective. So I'm taking it holistically.
Honorable Majority Leader.
And then the word community service.
Honorable Minister for Education, I will take you to have a look at clause 4, clause 5, clause 6.
Mr. Speaker, abandon. You establish a management board. Thank
clause
you.
7 and clause 8, as well as clause 9. Very well. Any further consideration?
But Mr. Speaker, my effective before implementation, insert effective before implementation, 22(1)(b), shall ensure the effective implementation of the decisions of the management board. Thank you.
Yes, Chairman of the Committee.
Mr. Speaker, we are not opposed. It embellishes the construction.
So, Honorable Minister for Education, adopt the right rendition, effective and efficient. So move your amendment and let me put a question.
Mr. Speaker, I so move. Clause 22(1)(b) shall ensure the effective and efficient implementation of the decisions of the management board. I so submit. Thank
Members,
you.
the proposed amendment is for your consideration. Proposed amendment by the Minister responsible for Education is for your consideration. Honourable members, any further amendments? I'll put a question on the chairman's. I'll put a question on the proposed amendment by Honorable Haruna Idrisu. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment by Honorable Haruna Idrisu is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now, any further proposal to clause 22? I'll put a question on the entire clause 22. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. Clause 22 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Yes, Chairman of the Committee. Which provision of the bill? Honourable Minority Leader, if you know, you are not going to talk about a provision of the bill. At consideration stage, we consider only a bill. If you know you are not going to talk about a consideration of a bill, kindly resume your seat.
Mr. Speaker, I am on my feet. Mr. Speaker, I'm on my feet.
Which clause?
Mr. Speaker, our practice at the bar, preliminary objection can be raised at any point, at any stage.
Honorable member,
Mr. Speaker.
when a maize is tilted
Yes.
for consideration of a bill, it is for a purpose. At least, if not for my sake, you have to respect the maize.
Mr. Speaker, I have heard you. Out of great deference to you and the maize, I will rest my case. But Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Minority Leader, I think you are out of order. Yes.
Amendment proposed, Mr. Speaker, after clause 22, insert the following new clauses. Deputy National Coordinator. Mr. Speaker, I don't intend to bore you by reading the entire construction.
As captured in page 13.
Absolutely.
It is for the consideration of the House. There is a proposed new clause after clause 22 by the chairman of the committee. It's for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any further amendment? I'll put a question to the chairman's proposed amendment. As many as are in favor, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment by the chairman of the committee as a new clause after clause 22 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 23.
Staff of the Secretariat.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, we don't have any advertised amendments.
It is, however, for the consideration of the House. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, clause 23, with your leave and indulgence, 23(1), second line, appoint other officers, whether they want to insert other officers necessary for the efficient and effective performance of the functions of the Secretariat. Thank you. It may not be harmful if they are lifting the exact provisions of Article 195 of the Constitution. But the President shall, in accordance with Article 195 of the Constitution, appoint officers, appoint other officers, because you've already given the President a mandate to appoint a national coordinator, a deputy national coordinator. It's just a suggestion to the chairman. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, but all other officers are appointed by the President. It's either appointed directly by the President or on authority of the President. Article 195.
Mr. Speaker, so you have used my word, other officers. I'm adding the word other. Other officers necessary. Other officers, appoint other officers necessary in 23. But it does no harm, though, Mr.
Very
Speaker.
well. Chairman of the committee, what is the constitutional language in Article 195?
Mr. Speaker, I would refer quickly to the Constitution 195. 195. Mr. Speaker, with your kind permission, 195 of the Constitution reads as follows. Subject to the provisions of this Constitution, the power to appoint persons to hold or to act in an office in the public services shall vest in the President, acting in accordance with the advice of the Governing Council of the service concerned, given in consultation with the Public Services Commission. Mr. Speaker,
with the constitutional provision, Minister for Education, what do you say? Very well. I'll put a question to clause 23. As many as are in favor of clause 23 standing part of the bill, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. Yes. Still on clause 23.
I think we should leave it the way it is.
He has put a question. I lost.
Oh, okay. I thought we were taking the amendments to the...
No, he has abandoned it. So I'll put a question again. As many as are in favor of clause 23 standing part of the bill, yes.
Mr. Speaker, one more, since the policy promoter is here. 23, performance of the functions of the Secretariat. When you have staff of a Secretariat, you have staff of an institution. Is it not the community service they are serving or its secretariat? I have a difficulty with the use of the word functions of the secretariat. They must, the President, in accordance with Article 195 of the Constitution, appoint officers necessary for the efficient and effective performance of the functions of the service, not the secretariat. I mean, you are putting in staff, like parliamentary service.
Look at the marginal note of 23.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll refer to it.
Staff and secretariat. That's a marginal note. So we are dealing purely with the secretariat. I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of clause 23 standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 23 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 24.
Internal Audit Unit.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, we don't have any advertised amendments.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment? In the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question on clause 24. As many as are in favor, say aye. Those against, say no. Honourable members, clause 24. The ayes have it. Clause 24 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 25.
Funds of the Secretariat.
Chairman of the committee, amendment numbered II at page 13.
Amendment proposed. Delete and insert the following. Funds of the Secretariat. The funds of the Secretariat include A, monies approved by Parliament. B, subject to paragraph B of section 31 of this Act, monies accruing to the Secretariat in the performance of the functions of the Secretariat. And C, donations, grants, and gifts.
So, Chairman of the committee, why not consider the B being an internally generated fund of the Secretariat?
Mr. Speaker, the cross-reference is quite clear, and it reads as follows. Any other monies that the minister, with the approval of Parliament, may determine. So if you take into account the cross-reference, Mr. Speaker, it would be very important to still have the rendition
very well
the way it is.
I'll put a question. In the absence of any further consideration. Yes, Honourable Minister for Interior.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to find out from the chair which of the amendments is taken. Because if you look at the 25, in the committee's own report, they were more elaborate. Even though I know, Mr. Speaker, you have some reservation about one of them. It was in A, B, C, and D. But what he is taking now, I don't know. You should check the committee's report because we sat at the committee and went through. Because in the committee's report, it was to delete and insert the following. Source of monies for the fund. Oh, sorry, this was funds on the Secretariat.
25.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Sorry.
Very well. I will then put a question on the proposed amendment to clause 25. Yes. Majority Leader.
Yeah, I think the proposal to amend by cross-referencing 25 and 31 appears to me to betray some inconsistency in drafting. Because you really cannot establish a difference between funds of the Secretariat as elaborated in 25A, B, and C, and sources of money for the fund. Because monies approved by Parliament is a source of money, parliamentary allocation to the Secretariat's fund. Same as monies accrued from the provision of services by convicted persons to third parties. So why do we not just consolidate the two clauses instead of cross-referencing them?
Minority Leader, if you look at clause 29 seeks to establish rehabilitation fund. And clause 31 is dealing with the source of money for that
For the
rehabilitation fund.
Okay.
But
Okay.
25 is dealing with the funds of the secretariats.
Okay. So why are we cross-referencing that? Let me just understand.
That is why I said, regarding the secretariat, we could simply say internally generated fund. Because these are two separate funds. I don't know why it is being cross-referenced. Because here, this one, the one you are cross-referencing, is dealing with services provided by the convicted persons.
Mr. Speaker, sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the distinct character of the funds in question is further underscored by clause 31. And if we get to 31, Mr. Speaker would find that 31C actually talks about 5% of the share of the District Assembly's common fund. 31 for each District Assembly, subject to the formula approved by Parliament in accordance with Article 252 of the Constitution.
Yes, that one, if you come there, we'll look at the Constitution and determine whether we can legislate on that.
Not. But in the meantime, if you don't do the cross-referencing, you run into problems.
No.
Right from the outset.
You see, look at the 25. 25, the B, you are saying monies accruing to the Secretariat in the performance. Monies okay, I've moved to 31. 25 is saying the B is saying subject to paragraph B of section 31 of the monies accruing to the Secretariat in the performance of the DC. So paragraph B of section 31 is saying at least 25% of monies accruing to the Secretariat in the performance of. So if you are establishing money, source of money for the fund, I think the source of money for the fund should be different from the source of money for the Secretariat. So assuming this paragraph crossed the line, where will you be putting the money? In which account will you be putting the money? Is it for the Secretariat or for the rehabilitation? Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I get the cue from you and I'm guided. When we got to 25, I was just opposing it with 29. Funds of the Secretariat, establishment of the rehabilitation fund. Mr. Speaker, I think that we cannot have both two. A secretariat is a secretariat. If you establish a fund, you can use that fund to run the community service. But I was wondering why you have funds of the secretariat and then what source of monies for the fund. No. If we are establishing a fund, rehabilitation fund, let's establish it. As for secretariat, it's a minute structure of the whole community service. So I think that we should focus more on 29 than on 25. This would be my view, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Majority Leader.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, when we establish a secretariat, which is basically an institution, we need to spell out how it is going to be financed. So I can understand if we say funds of the secretariat. What I have difficulty understanding is 25B, monies accruing to the secretariat in the performance of the functions of the secretariat. If you go to the functions of the secretariat, there is no money-making function spelled out there. There is no function there that enables the secretariat to make money. So if there's no function spelled out there that enables it to make money, I have difficulty understanding why we would mention that they will be accruing money in the performance of the functions of the secretariat. I'm saying so because the only thing that we can say may be money accruing to the entire system in the form of internally generated funds, as Speaker is directing, is monies accrued from the provision of services by convicted persons to third parties. But you're already allocating that money to the rehabilitation fund. So how can you allocate that money to the rehabilitation fund and at the same time mention it in 25 as a source of revenue for the secretariat?
So, Mr. Speaker, that is why you would see when we get to 31, the B talks about at least 25% of monies accruing to the secretariat in the performance of the. So what is envisaged here is that the money that will be generated from the service convicts would render would only, just a fraction of the 25% would become a source of funding for the secretariat, so that the chunk of it would become a source of funding for the rehabilitation fund.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, maybe we should suspend consideration of 25 and move up to 30. When we get to 31, then we can try and understand whatever structure we want to put in place.
Very well. If that is the sense of the House, clause 25 is accordingly deferred. Clause 26.
Bank account.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, no advertised amendments.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment to clause 26? In the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of clause 26, standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 26 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 27.
Accounts and audit.
Mr. Speaker, no advertised amendments.
Yes, it is for the consideration of the House.
Speaker,
yes.
With respect, the majority leader indicated that we're going to do some 3 clauses. 5. We've done more than 5, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you say 5, we've crossed 5. We've done 5 clauses. Please, when you see, let's take you by your word. You said 3, then later change it to 5. We are done with the 5. Colleagues, let us go by our gentleman's agreement. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleading. What he told us, we agreed. Then he changed it to 5. We agreed. So, Mr. Speaker, let it end there, respectfully. No. Honorable leader, we agreed. You said 3, later change it to 5. We've agreed. So let's close there, please. In any event, the appropriate
yes, Majority Leader.
Discussion on this matter is yet to come into fruition.
Mr. Speaker, I do agree with him. I know that several times they have called on this House to work 24 hours, pursuant to the 24-hour economy, policy. They have called on this House several times, and especially Jerry. Jerry has consistently expressed his commitment to work 24 hours. I'm surprised that today he's curtailing, proceedings at 7 o'clock. So 7 p.m. So let's
Honourable members, from
just
clause 26 to 30, there is no advertised amendment.
There are no amendments. That's why I want us to stop there.
Mr. Speaker, if you want us to stop at 30 because there are no amendments, I agree that we stop at 30. That's fine. No problem.
Clause 27, Chairman of the Committee. Wait, clause 27.
Mr. Speaker, we have no advertised amendment.
Let them read the clause.
Account and audit.
Chairman of the Committee.
No amendments, Mr. Speaker.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment? Honourable members, in the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favour of clause 27 standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 27 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 28.
Annual report and other reports.
Chairman of the Committee.
Mr. Speaker, we have no proposed amendments.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment? I'll put a question. As many as are in favour of clause 28 standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 28 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 29.
Establishment of the Rehabilitation Fund.
No advertised amendments, Mr. Speaker.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment? In the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question to clause 29. As many as are in favour, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 29 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 30.
Object of the fund.
No advertised amendments, Mr.
It is
Speaker.
for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment to clause 30? In the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favour of clause 30 standing part, yes?
Mr. Speaker, just a policy explanation. Head note, object of the fund. The object of the fund is to provide financial resources for the rehabilitation of convicted persons. Now, are you narrowing the fund only to rehabilitation of convicted persons? Because if you establish the fund, my understanding is that the fund will even support the community service bill you are establishing. No, I know, but you are in your words here, you say the object of the fund is to provide financial resources for the rehabilitation of convicted persons. Is that the only reason why you are establishing the fund? I just want...
Yes, if you look at clause 25 and clause 29, and you look at the marginal note, it is clear that the purpose of this fund is for rehabilitation. That's why they call it Establishment of Rehabilitation Fund. Yes?
Mr. Speaker, listening to Honorable Harun Idrisu, I think he's giving us a lead to rethink. The whole essence of the community service is not just about the rehabilitation. Mr. Speaker, the rehabilitation bit is one aspect of it. The whole community service as an alternative to custodial sentencing is more than the rehabilitation. I believe that the fund will not only be used for rehabilitation. What about other activities, medical? No, please. Mr. Speaker, then rehabilitation must be given a proper definition. Yes, so because if you talk about rehabilitation in its ordinary sense, we all understand what rehabilitation is. To help the person reintegrate into society by abstaining from certain things, by going through some counseling and all of that. So, Mr. Speaker, if the rehabilitation in this context is very broad, then the minister should give us a policy guide at this point so that the rehabilitation is properly understood in its context.
Yes, honorable members, if you look at clause 25, clause 25 is seeking to establish funds for the secretariat. And I believe, apart from rehabilitation, the funds of the secretariat, including monies approved by Parliament, will be used for any other thing. But this fund established in 29 is purposely for rehabilitation. That's why they are creating the two funds. I'll put a question on clause 30. As many as are in favor of clause 30 standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 30 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Yes, Majority Leader. Yes, Majority Leader.
Microphones are suffering from doom, so.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Speaker, there's an amendment advertised by the no, there's an amendment advertised by the minority leader. No, you advertise an amendment. No, Mr. Speaker, he advertised an amendment. So I want to find out whether he is interested in taking his amendment. You are interested in your amendment, but not today. Oh, Mr. Speaker. We started at 2 o'clock, so we've done 5 hours. We started at 2. We started at 2, so we are in your hands.
Very well. We've now come to the end of consideration stage of the Community Service Bill 2026. Honourable members, we have sat in excess of 5 hours. Therefore, Order 56-2 would come to play. Based on that, adjournment lies in the hands of the person presiding. The House is accordingly adjourned till Wednesday, the 10th day of June 2026 at 12 noon. The House is adjourned accordingly.